I grew up with The Simpsons before it fell off, but the initial premise during the beginning of the show was to laugh at this dysfunctional family with the dad being a complete idiot. Then you had Married with Children, which was a 30-minute amazing comedy sitcom of how horrible marriage life is, but deep down, there is love. But the dad, also a complete idiot. Now, just through my observation, I don't recall seeing black sitcoms like this. The dad was always either a hard-working, blue-collar man who provides for his family the best that he can, like in Good Times, or the well-respected, highly educated father like Philip Banks from The Fresh Prince. You thought I was gonna say Bill Cosby, didn't you? Listen, we all wanted a Cliff Huxtable type of dad. I wish I could live up to that character. I said character, not Bill Cosby. But we had some shows that were big hits and got highlighted more than others where the dad was just a doofus. Of course you had exceptions, Dan from Roseanne, blue collar, competent dad. On the flip side of that, you had the Home Improvement Show, an incompetent, lovable HSN style of host who did that for a living but somehow just always managed to screw up everything at work and somehow managed to still make a lot of money to live a upper middle class life. Weird show. Weird. My point is, we saw a lot of dumb and incompetent fathers on TV and in movies, and later we got into the 90s. And we never got a hit show that promoted a Christian family with explicit Christian values like a Holy Family type of sitcom or show. We don't talk about that show. The new year is here, and there's no better time to look at what the Holy Family should look like than now, and why it's important. Since I am a Catholic, and since Catholics do follow rules, do we have some rules that is made up by man to keep the patriarchy in power and suppress women?
Yes, definitely.
Some will say yes, usually non-Catholics, but whatever. I argue that we do not. But you tell me at the end of this video after I explain to you how living a holy family is a good foundation. Now spin up my intro. The Holy Family is Jesus Christ, Mary, and Joseph living together in Nazareth. It's not a metaphor or allegory. Think about it for a second. God enters an ordinary family life. He submits to his parents, he works with his hands, he obeys authority, and he grows in wisdom. Christians from all denominations understand that the Bible is full of metaphors, symbolism, allegories, moral truths, parables, poems, and so on. Yet, not all of us take the Holy Family as seriously as we should, or have an understanding that this is an example of what a family should look like and what a family should be all about. That's why Catholics take this so seriously, and that's the reason why a lot of them act like cats and have a bunch of babies. God chose to redeem the world through family, not bypass it. We all agree that Jesus is fully divine and fully human, right? By choosing to be born into a family, he sanctifies family life itself, right? I keep saying right so you can nod with me as I'm speaking, okay? His obedience to Mary and Joseph is not symbolic. Scripture states plainly that he was subject to them. This establishes authority, obedience, and humility as virtues, not oppression. Look, check out Luke 2, verse 51. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was subject to them. The Greek word that they used back then is hypotasso. I'm not a Greek linguistic scholar, so forgive me for pronouncing words the wrong way. I already have a hard enough time speaking proper English. But the
hypotasso
meaning is real submission to authority, not symbolic respect. This is the same word used elsewhere for lawful obedience within hierarchy. So with that being said, what this establishes biblically is that if Jesus is truly God and truly human, and he freely submits to parental authority, then scripture teaches that authority is not evil, obedience is not oppression, and humility is not weakness. So where did we go wrong?
I don't know.
This is why Catholic theology says Christ sanctified family life, not by his speech, but by living it. This understanding matters because modern objections usually collapse right here. If obedience were inherently demeaning, Christ would not have practiced it, right? If family authority were unjust by nature, God would not have placed himself under it, right? Nowhere in scripture does it portray Jesus as rebelling against family structure. It portrays him as redeeming it from within. It's all over the Bible. I mean, look at all these verses. And when you get a chance, fact check me. Oh, sorry. That's the long pause was for you to screenshot that, and then of course also subscribe. People tend to write off Catholicism as if we were some sort of heretics that were wrong for 2,000 years. But for a second, just remove Catholicism and take it out of the picture. They're not rejecting Catholic theology. They are rejecting the plain reading of Scripture itself because it's clear enough for Stevie Wonder to be able to see.
You only pick on me because I'm blind.
So let's break down the Holy Family for a second. We already covered Jesus, right? So I think we're good on that one. But what were the roles of Joseph and Mary? Man and woman, husband and wife. Sorry, but not sorry in what I said. This doesn't make me a hateful person or a bigot for saying the truth. Mary, for example, represents total cooperation with God's will. Her motherhood is not merely biological, hence why Catholics get bothered when people just diminish her role in God's human life like she's nothing. Just a vessel that popped out. God. She is the first disciple. Catholics see her as the model of faithful obedience, interior strength, and trust in God amid uncertainty and danger. Her role in the family is not dominance, but order, authority rooted in love and understanding. If you are a mother, do you think you could sit there and watch your son get tortured and crucified, believing he is telling you the truth that this is all supposed to happen? No, most mothers wouldn't. And fathers definitely wouldn't have. Mary's role was to be a mother of God that freely cooperates with God's will, nurtures Christ's humanity, and orders the family towards obedience and trust in God through her faith. It is as if the natural law for a mother to all of a sudden have these instincts of nurturing that us men do not naturally have, because we seem to have the instinct to want to provide for the family. Am I just too old school for some of you? As for Joseph's role, aka the man of the house, is to be the father and guardian exercising lawful authority through protection, provision, and obedient leadership, receiving God's command and acting decisively to safeguard Mary and Jesus. Joseph is the dad who takes responsibility. He works, protects his family, makes hard decisions, and steps up when things go wrong without needing attention or praise. Now, Joseph isn't mentioned a lot in the Bible. In fact, he only appears, I believe, in the Gospels of Matthew 1 through 2 and the Gospel of Luke 1 through 2. After Jesus' childhood, Joseph basically disappears from the narrative and is never quoted speaking a single line. By the start of Jesus' public ministry, Joseph is presumed to be dead. But even though he isn't mentioned much, Scripture presents Joseph as a man defined by action rather than words, and Catholics honestly honor him. How do we know? Because by the 2nd and 4th century, early Christian writers consistently affirmed Joseph's role as the true guardian and the legal father of Jesus, protector of Mary's virginity and her reputation, and a model of obedience and chastity. So in a way, he was the first top G. You've been struck by a smooth criminal. You see, these are roles of a man and a woman that are depicted throughout Scripture. And for some reason, we bastardized this and turned a nuclear family into some sort of oppressive ideology when in fact, it's the wealth, security, and happiness we all look for and are too stupid to see it or appreciate it.
We choose truth over facts.
But I don't know about you, but in my household, I love providing for my wife and my kids. I love being the defender of my family and being the man of my house. I love the fact that some of my kids light up when I walk through the door from work, just to be happy to be around me or have me in their presence. My wife loves being a nurturer. She's up every day, raises our children with care and values, and keeps the family grounded when life gets chaotic. It's literally a job that drives most men insane. Yet women effortlessly do this even when they feel exhausted, worn out, and tired, and of course on their, periods.
How dare you?
And here's a little dirty secret I'm about to tell you. Most men would do it all over too. Unless you're like a deadbeat dad or just a nihilist. Do better, y'all. It's the roles we have through natural law, and accepting this as a fact instead of fighting it cultivates a fruitful life. I already know the pushback I'm going to get from the feminist movement and the toxic masculinity crowd. There are clearly exceptions, of course. There are always exceptions. Take a look.
Oh, here we are. Help me, sweetheart. Help me. Oh no, he's just walking away. He's not even looking. Look at him. Look at him. What an embarrassment of a man. What is this guy doing? He's like watching as, what a loser. Well, there we go. Boom, real man. Realm another man, more men, more men to beat this up. Look at that, look at that.
So what did you notice in this video? This security cam video footage. Woman gets attacked, a bunch of men show up and whoop some butt to protect her. With the exception of her now, I'm sure, ex-boyfriend who was a coward. I'm sorry, ladies, but be honest. Would you rather be with the men who stepped in to protect the woman or the man who stood there and did absolutely nothing?
I know.
Like, how do you respect someone who refuses to act when it matters most? And yet, this is the model that society keeps selling us. These Walmart-bitten exceptions. Timu men who retreat instead of protecting, who perform weakness instead of responsibility, who center themselves instead of standing firm when others depend on them. Nobody wants to be with a guy who can't handle his emotions and has meltdowns like a woman.
I wanted to be hopeful because I wanted to believe in something better and something greater for myself. And look how it's paid off. It hasn't.
Like, how are you supposed to build a holy family with a man like that? You can't. It will spoil. The foundation will be weak and distorted. Look, biblically, male strength isn't defined by dominance or aggression, contrary to what some people are trying to tell you. Just open up the Bible and read. It's defined by self-sacrifice. And when I hear the phrase toxic masculinity, I get why it exists, because men can abuse power and have. Men can dominate and have. They do exploit and hurt people. We've seen it throughout history or in our own lives. But when I'm watching what's happening to society, it goes way beyond correcting what's broken. The secular worldview doesn't just call out bad behavior, it treats masculinity itself like a disease. Strength becomes something to be ashamed of. Leadership gets labeled as control or patriarchy. Responsibility gets reframed as oppression, and they frame this in a way like it's compassion and progressive. And I honestly don't understand why people don't see through that BS. And if you tell young men over and over that what makes them men is dangerous or unwanted, they won't magically become better people. They turn to toxic people for advice because they say things that counters this anti-masculinity movement and feminism.
The best thing about Islam is how simple it is, because there's wrong and right.
It's a simple religion.
It's wrong and right. I mean, you look at other religions and it's also subjective now. If you tolerate everything, you stand for nothing. And if you believe in God and you say, I believe in God, but I'm not a Muslim, I'm going to say, okay, that's fine. You're a Christian. What is Christianity anymore?
Sure.
You can walk down walk down the street with a t-shirt saying Jesus is gay. Girls barely go to church. If they do, who knows what they were doing the night before. It's changed gender. What do you think about that? Christians are so soft. They're going to go, well, I hope he finds redeem, and I hope he finds guidance. Haram, bro. Haram.
Because these red pill grifters point out the symptoms, but they prescribe the wrong medicine. These lost souls end up breaking into predictable patterns. Some check out completely and drift into passivity. Others swing into the opposite direction, become exactly the angry, reckless caricature where everyone claims to hate. Both paths are a dead end, to be honest. What I'm arguing for is responsibility. Strength ordered towards service. A man who protects, provides, leads, and sacrifices, while a woman displays love for God, lives with strength and dignity, speaks with wisdom and kindness, and faithfully nurtures those entrusted to her like her family. Her worth is shown, but not through appearances or power through a job, which is what society is trying to push down our throats through slick manipulative campaigns. Look, I'm not trying to get all preachy here, but it's not hard to live like a holy family. It may not be perfect, but imagine having a manual in your hands like the 5 love languages that shows you how to connect with your partner better. Now imagine if there was a manual that shows you how to live a good life as a family man and wife. Oh yeah, that exists. A Bible. This is not even a Bible. The Bible. This is the Schofield Bible, crap. The Bible. This is the Orthodox Study Bible. The Bible. That's the right one. That's an NKJV version. Where's the real Bible? Here, for the people who haven't read the Bible, here are some cliff notes for some of you. Living out a holy family kind of looks like this. First, put God at the center of your home. Say grace before meals, have nightly prayers, attending Mass together as a family. Don't separate your kids when you go to Mass like it's a Jesus daycare or something.
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
You are teaching your kids the wrong thing, in my opinion. They should be sitting there with you and understand that Mass is for worship, not a kid's hangout session, coloring and doodling and just reading the same story over and over.
Over Adam and Eve and David and Moses and Jesus. Look at this picture I colored, Mom.
No! Secondly, live your roles in the house intentionally. Fathers, again, are called to protect, provide, and lead through sacrifice, not domination. That's a key word. You're not here to dominate anyone. Be a real provider and not a hustler. Providers build stability. Hustlers chase attention, money, and call chaos a grind. Mothers are called to nurture, form, and stabilize the family through love, presence, and wisdom. They're not your own personal servant to open their legs at will or cook and clean all day. Although, third, children are formed and not indulged. Teach your children obedience, responsibility, and respect for authority. Why don't we do that anymore? And why has this become such a controversial statement? Joe Jackson whipped all his kids into success. Actually, that's a bad example. Don't be a permissive parent. That's a style where parents are emotionally supportive but avoid all rules, demands, and real consequences. The result isn't kindness. It's a child who grows up self-centered, entitled, and unable to handle pressure or correction. Those kids, I'm telling you, are annoying.
Her family think this is funny.
Fourth, authority is exercised as service, meaning parents make decisions for the good of the family even when those decisions are unpopular. I'm sorry, you can't play Roblox and Fortnite. It promotes brain rot. Pervs target children on those platforms, and most importantly, it teaches you to gamble. So you can't play until you get a little bit older and more mature, and by then, you're not gonna want to play those stupid games anyways. Oh, also, throw Minecraft in there, just because I hate it. Seriously, kids, go play Legos. Fifth, and this might be unpopular, but suffering is faced together as a family, and you will overcome it as a family. When finances, for example, stress you out, don't suppress it and just keep it deep down, and no, talk about it. You will be surprised how easily your family understands even the children. It literally builds trust and unity. And it's also like a life lesson. Kids pay attention to that type of stuff. Sixth, forgiveness is normal. No. Make confession part of your life. It's there for a reason. If you don't know why, check out the video at the end. I'm pointing it right here, but I'm gonna put it up at the end of the video. Apologize and forgive regularly, even to your kids if you messed up. Listen, I'm not perfect, and I do tell my kids at times that I'm not perfect, and I do apologize to them.
Okay.
We assume people will fail and build habits that have to be broken sometimes if it becomes toxic, and that's with everybody. Last but not least, build your home as the foundation. Faith, virtue, work ethics, and love of truth are taught primarily at home and not outsourced to schools or forms of social media or just the media in general or the state. You are the parent. You are responsible for your family. Act that way. And as a parent, understand the priority and the hierarchy of your family. Husband and wife need to nourish their relationship because there will be ups and downs throughout your marriage where you will disconnect at times and you won't be synced up. You need to actively work on keeping that flame lit. And fellas, we are aware of our number one shortcomings, lust, and women are aware of their number one shortcomings, resentment. Talk about that stuff. Communication is key because the stronger your relationship is with one another, the stronger your foundation is at home. And that trickles down to the kids, both visually and spiritually and emotionally, shaping how they understand love, conflict, and stability long before anyone ever teaches them with words. Bottom line is, most marital problems are not caused by one dramatic failure, but by small, repeated choices towards self instead of sacrifice. Catholic teaching consistently points to the same solution: ordered love, self-mastery, forgiveness, and God-shared orientation towards God. It's not impossible. I mean, how many of y'all buy all those self-help books?
All I really need is a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit.
This episode got really preachy. But I asked a question at the beginning of this episode, and after everything I covered, do you see this all as oppression or as the truth? You don't have to be Catholic to recognize that families collapse when responsibility disappears and when family is built on disorder. Because it's part of the natural law, which God created. Just saying. And I know we all know this because we all at one point or another tried TikTok therapists, sitcom dads, vibe-based parenting, and new age theories on how to raise your kids. And shockingly, the Bible still works better.